Naimbag na aldaw, sa dinuma na batog ti langit gayan nyo. Tapay kumata na tiyakin na saya ti saad kibiyag kada kayo. First of all, I want to thank NACEM for organizing this work, which has now further expanded its scope, along with expanding and in line with the aspiration to include and engage more and more communities towards linguistic justice, cultural democracy, and emancipatory education. We have to revisit our positions and look at it from a different perspective so we can fulfill any responsibilities associated with our aspirations. This is where I will locate my sharing title, Arguing for Ilocano Indigeneity, Establishing Alliance with Indigenous Peoples of the Amianan. I am Leo Tejano. My father is Soray, an ethno-linguistic group from the group of islands in the central Philippines, while my mother is Ilocano, an ethno-linguistic group from the northern part of the Philippines. This love story is the typical love story of the members of the more than 180 ethno-linguistic groups who were blinded of the promise of Metro Manila, the seat of Philippine power. Nevertheless, though I am a child of two different ethno-linguistic groups, I must say that I know more about my Ilocano roots than my Waray roots. Actually, growing up, I did not learn any of these languages of my parents. We were raised using the dominant language of the land, Tagalog. Believe it or not, we were raised thinking that the only languages in the Philippines are Tagalog, as the blessed only one national language over the 180 plus Philippine languages, and English, the language used internationally. We moved to Ilocos in 2009. I embraced my Ilocano ancestry. I even took the MA Ilocano Studies program, which is yet the only graduate degree program in the study of Ilocano in the world. I became part of various activities towards the promotion of Ilocano in fair ethnic representation in the national orientation. In memory, I only have three encounters with indigenous peoples here in Ilocos Norte. One is when we visited the Yapayaw Snag communities in Adams, Ilocos Norte, to listen to their reaction on a misrepresentation to them during a provincial event. Another is when we visited again the place for tourism activity. Having a friend who is a member of the said community, I was blessed to listen to an elder recounting his story when tourism development has not reached their community yet. He told us, I, together with other visitor of the place or visitors of the place, the ease and dis-ease dilemma that he's feeling due to this version of development, the other's version of development. Ease because due to tourism, services as well as the livelihood that do not reach their community before are now coming. And this ease because due to changes in their environment, it does not provide them anymore the space and time to do the things they are used to. In their words, sapsapulan kibagiti na kairwapan. The body is longing for things they are used to. Third is when a student in a course that I am handling right now, we were discussing about community-based rehabilitation for persons with disabilities when he told us that in their community, the Doraraki, the ritualist healer of the community, plays a vital role, not particularly in healing, but in keeping them in balance with the community. Until I ask myself, look back at my experiences of how I built the knowledge that I know about Ilocos, I did not, or say I really failed to listen to these indigenous communities in Ilocos Norte. And this is a real failure as I conceptualize the self or myself in the entangled story of Damianan. I put forward only the Ilocano and neglected the communities who generated from their own mastery of the ecosystem, their own knowledge for survival and keeping in balance, survive with the nakaiparaswaan or the environment. As I assume a stance on building relationships with the indigenous communities, particularly in Damianan, I ask the following tentative questions that I will not directly answer, but to keep the flow of our conversation. Who are the indigenous? Are Ilocano indigenous? What is the position of Ilocano in Damianan history, specifically during the period of colonization? What can the Ilocano do to become an ally or establish an alliance with indigenous peoples of Damianan? Asking who is indigenous is not easy as asking who your parents are. This question carries the weight of the question of who you are or who are you, another creature in the world, to impose on me whether I will be indigenous or not. For a long time, this method of description, characterization, and naming has been used to legitimize colonization. I have not been able to accept this responsibility. However, I will try to start possibly tracing its meaning from a simple dictionary search. Unlike the colonial experience of other countries that have experienced the expulsion of indigenous peoples from their land or the outright killing of them in order for others to facilitate or settle new environment or new settlement, the conquest of in the conquest of the Philippines, I think, is more painful because they need us alive and breathing in order to work for them. Because we are alive, our ancestors who are indigenous to our areas can be said to be indigenous. We are, as in the dictionary, originating or occurring naturally in a particular place, native to our areas where we come from. In our attempt today to answer the question of who is indigenous, based on the dictionary, is technically all indigenous. The Tagalogs today in the land of Katagalugan are indigenous. The Kapampangans today in the land of Kapampangan are indigenous. Because of this, I think the more appropriate question is who is not indigenous? Two more documents we can refer to in answering this question: the definition from United Nations and the IPRA. Both the UN and IPRA emphasize the importance of continuing or the criteria to continuing to maintain the integrity of their identities, way of life, and their right to traditional lands, territories, and natural resources, and above all, continued resistance to colonialism. Here, I want to bring the conversations to the next question. Are Ilocano indigenous? But again, this question is still weighed down by the previous question that I will not attempt to answer. It is obvious that we have indigenous roots, but how much the Ilocano maintain indigeneity apart from a few traditional practices that in not too distant future, maybe, will soon be forgotten? You answer this yourself. The connection of life in Amyanan is deep and intricate. The land itself will tell its story. Ilocano, Lu, Kong, from the low or lower part of the land. Igorot, Gorot, from the high part of the land. Tracing the family of languages, we can also see that our languages in the north belong to one family. This all means that the lowland and the upland have a natural relationship. Thus, in attempting to answer how much does the Ilocano maintain indigeneity in relation to its connection to Amyanan, lives, and other stories, it is important to ask, what is the position of Ilocano in Amyanan history, specifically during the period of colonization? There are many records of Ilocano resistance to colonization. As much as this, there are many traces of how Ilocanos embraced the life brought by the colonizer. Caloocan is one of the regions with many old churches and buildings. In the songs, dances, zarzuela, and other practices of the Ilocanos today, there is a trace of its embrace to its former Spanish colonizer. In many historical records, we can read that some Ilocanos were part of the religious mission in various places in the Cordillera, which we cannot deny is the reason why some have abandoned their earlier indigenous spiritual practices. Here is a photo from Foronda's the establishment of the first missionary centers in Ilocos, 1571 to 1612. His citing Blumentritt too said that the Tingyan of northern Luzon came in the land during the first wave of Malay migration in 20 or 200 BC. Aside from the Ilocanos, Isneg and Tingyan groups also populated the hinterlands of Ilocos. These two tribes were one linguistically and culturally um, with Iloco or with Ilocano. But the more advanced one, the Ilocanos, keep on pushing the less developed groups, the Isneg and the Tingyan, until these groups found permanent homes in the interior parts of the Ilocos, where for centuries they have jealously guarded their rich tradition. Cole likewise described the oppressive situation under Spanish Iloco domination in the Tingyan or the Itneg territory. As Spanish rule was extended into the Tingyan territory, Ilocano settlers pressed in and acquired holdings of land. This led to many bitter disputes which are consistently settled in favor of the converts. But at the same time, many inducements were offered the pagans to get them into the Christianized village. Historical records also show that upon the establishment of American colonial rule in Abra, the Ilocano elites like the Villamors, the Paredeses, the Valeras, and the Brillantes dominated politics and government in Abra because it was their rank. Those who were educated and worked as minor functionaries in the Spanish colonial bureaucracy are the ones who were hired by the American colonizers. In the work of Dumagat, he said that Iloco dominance over politics and government in Abra is further evidenced by the fact that no Itneg politician had been able to get elected as provincial governor or congressman. The highest provincial elite or elective post ever assumed by an Itneg was membership in the provincial board by Capitan Shagan of Peñarubia. In the irony of Ilocano dominance in Abra, Ilocano politicians who held power in influence generally failed to improve the socio-economic and political conditions of the province in general, and the Itneg in particular. These and many other accounts show that although there was a natural and ancient and or natural and ancient connection to the Amyanan, colonialism destroyed us. Unexpectedly, the Ilocanos have been placed in an advantageous position compared to our fellow groups in the Amyanan, and this we must recognize. Again, to the question of whether Ilocano is indigenous, I do not know the answer. What I am sure is that we have an indigenous origin, and compared to other groups in the Mianan, we are in a more advantageous situation now, and others, according to IPRA, are still being tested by various political and social and cultural factors, which is even more tragic than the right that the Ilocanos are fighting for the equal representation of language, culture, history, and education at the national level. In an attempt to trace indigenous roots, the Ilocano must revisit this relationship with honest recognition of its role in history and its position today. The Ilocano should be an ally of the indigenous peoples of the Mianan. With all this argument, may I say, my name is Leonardo Daquiwag Tejano. I was born in Manila to Ilocano and Waray parents. When my family settled on Ilocos Norte in 2009, I embraced my Ilocano ancestry and became a promoter of Ilocano towards fair ethnic representation. It took me years to understand that Ilocano also has become an agent for the minoritization of various communities and cultural indigenous or cultures indigenous in northern Luzon. With this realization, I acknowledge my own entanglement with this unheard narrative. I, therefore, commit to building relationships with the indigenous communities so that with their permissions, I may foster an indigenous and harmonious future with them. Again, the proposal of this paper is, in our aspiration to engage include, and make alliance. Let us go back to our indigenous roots and relationships. Let us honestly look at and acknowledge our position in our complex history caused by colonization. Let us build energies for our shared struggle towards cultural democracy, linguistic justice, and emancipatory education. Yaman. Thank you.